Real Estate Coffee Talk. I'm Antonio. We have Lake here with us today.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
I appreciate you having me here. I'm excited. This is actually my first one.
Perfect.
My first podcast.
Amazing.
So I said no to someone
You always
6 months
ago.
ago.
You know, like what they're saying. You always remember your first one. So.
Well, I said no to someone 6 months ago because I wasn't mentally ready, and I'm like, whatever, let's just do it.
Now you're a big shot, bro. You're selling a lot.
Well, a lot has happened in 6 months for sure, and we're gonna certainly talk about that. So.
Amazing, perfect. Okay, so where you originally from? You just mentioned earlier.
Yeah,
Tell us.
I moved here from Kansas City, Missouri, 4 years ago. I've been an agent for 3.5 years, and I signed on at 19 years old, man. So,
oh my God.
You know, people tend to judge you for your age right off the bat. So instead of out prospecting for the first 5-6 months, I stayed in the classroom so I could have those conversations. And around that time, that market was crazy, you know.
Yeah.
They say a monkey could have sold real estate, but I don't know. So we're going to talk about value and. Yeah, I'm super excited that you had me.
Perfect. So what did you move to Naples? What caused you to move to Naples?
Well, I'm in Fort Myers, but
Fort
Naples,
Myers, yeah.
I moved down here for the job offer from a job offer in Naples at John Arwood. And then next thing you know, life happens. So I decided to go with Keller Williams, which is known as a teaching brokerage, but man, there's some producers over there as well. So a lot of people give Keller Williams a bad rep. Mm-hmm. But it was a great brokerage for me at the time. It was a great learning experience for sure.
Perfect. So you said the first couple months you kind
of the first
spend more
5-6
time
months.
Learning the ropes of the business.
Yeah, especially the contracts too, because one of the biggest things is this is your biggest asset to some people.
Yeah.
So it's to know the contracts and to know how to handle the deal is
of course
really
a very
important.
responsible thing to do when someone is trusting you with their biggest purchase of their life.
Right.
Perfect. So you moved here to Fort Myers. Mm. So what were your first things to do? How were you generating business?
Yeah.
What were you focusing on?
Well, the thing is, I've been buying and selling stuff since I was a little kid. I actually had an Amazon return store in high school. So I was making what my buddies were making, working their ass off at, the gas station, Walmart, whatever. I was working maybe 4 hours a week. I did Amazon returns. So I'd buy, the first thing I sold, it was a spinal therapy gun. I bought it for $95. I sold it for $5 in an hour. From there, at 18, 19 years old, I was like, let's go. Like,
this is your income, there you go.
So that's the thing though, when I moved down here, this is a whole different ballpark. I underestimated this business for sure. This is a face-to-face conversation. And believe it or not, I was antisocial in high school. But I've been buying and selling stuff since I was a little kid. And when I moved down here, I was like, let's get after it. Let's get going. Not knowing anybody though.
Were you selling real estate in Kansas or no?
No, I did have a mentor up there, Kenny Manley. That's why I was like underestimating it because he made it look so easy. But little to know, he's been in the business since when he graduated high school, and he's in his 40s right now. So
okay, so like 20 years experience.
So showing homes and shaking hands, that's all it made it look easy, but this job is really underestimated.
Phone just keep ringing, come on.
Exactly.
Let's buy home, let's sell this home. You're like, oh, this is easy, right?
Yep.
Perfect. So how did you go about finding your business? I know that you just mentioned earlier being younger, especially here in this area. I know that we have older population. So how did you overcome that, being a younger real estate agent and having to, let's say, sell some 60-year-olds home? Yeah, so an easy part for me was I lived in a gated community. So to build a name and get your foot in the door right off the bat, and that's every community usually has a Facebook group of some sort or a social media group. So just being consistent on social media, and then now I've actually gotten to the position where I'm sponsoring events in the community. So we have cornhole, poker night, wine night, book club, all that stuff. So my name goes on most of it. Where's the poker night though?
I know, right? Hey, yeah. So that's the third Sunday of every month.
So when you go there and you lose your money, you're saying you're sponsoring the event?
I actually won last month though, so I was like, okay, it pays for the next event that I'm sponsoring. Okay. But we've had live. So when we first started our cornhole event, which is a big one by the way, that's brought in so much relationships and business for me. Just building So we had about 4 or 5 people show up at the first cornhole event. Now we get upwards to 70, 80 people. We just did 2 months ago a chili cook-off event. We had 114 people or something. It's hard to keep track after, but we've had live bands.
Make sure you get a CRM, you put those in your CRM.
Gosh, yeah, just have a sign-in sheet. No.
There you go. So, are you doing any open houses?
Yeah. So, as far as my lead sources go, right now it's really transitioned. But when I first started, it was open houses, sponsoring events, my sphere of influence eventually. But now I'm big on cold calls. So I'm on the phone.
Who do you call?
Expired and terminated listings.
Okay.
Yeah. So expireds are homes that have been on the market and they couldn't sell, and terminateds are either the agent fired the seller or the seller fired the agent.
Should we put you on the spot? What's your script?
Oh my gosh, my favorite one is I just 2 weeks ago this old lady answered, and I said, hey, just go through my normal opening, and they say, I don't want to sell my home, and I say, well, I don't want to list your home, and then they back up because now they had all that they had all these.
They're getting so many calls from real estate.
So when they say, I don't want to sell my home, I respond with, I don't want to list your home, and they're like, oh, well, what do you want then? I just want to. The house is an excuse to build a relationship.
Yeah.
Because the way that my business has transformed into something so big, I need a CRM. I don't use one, but my phone is it. I put the birthdays, I put everything in there. But just building relationship first.
You're saying even on every cold call you can create, you can focus more on the relationship part of it?
Yeah, whether you want to put your house back up on the market now or in the next 6 to 8 months or a year or whatever, I want to be that go-to guy. And not necessarily just for real estate. I want to be that go-to guy for everything.
Events.
All your events, local vendors. If you need a handyman, if you need an electrician, if you want the best sushi restaurant, I want you to call me.
Okay, amazing. We just had Alec last week in our previous episode. So he was telling us that he's big on YouTube.
Yeah.
So he creates a lot of content for YouTube. Are you on social media from that aspect of it? Are you creating videos?
Yeah. So YouTube's a little bit of a gray area for me. I have roughly 40,000 followers combined throughout my social media, and most of it's through TikTok. I have about 32,000 on TikTok.
Talk about that. So you're on TikTok. Talk about TikTok.
Well, it transitioned from being in high school and doing like thirst traps, but now I'm kind of transitioning to real estate, and I've actually gotten some traffic. Just last week, Mr. Rocket from up north, he was moving down to Sebring, Florida, which is I don't like to say no to helping somebody. So even though it's 2 hours north of here, I sent him an agent. But getting clients from social media in general that's what everybody wants, right?
Yeah.
But TikTok, just normal, I don't get fancy with it. I don't do like funny videos or anything. I want to be taken as a professional, and so I do professional content. Now, I am getting into the training of other agents because I get about 60 text messages a year of people who are like, Lake, what are you doing? How are you doing this? Like, you're doing so well. Yeah. Right, but that's
agents, other agents.
Yeah, people that haven't gotten their license yet, and now it's just a copy and paste for me. Bam, bam. This is what you do. So I begged my sister for a year to move down and join my team, and she wouldn't. Next thing you know, she came down, got her license, and she made a lot of money.
There you go.
So it's
gotta share some of the bread. You gotta
So
pay her better.
Yeah, and I just did my first Instagram masterclass for my brokerage, which I was expecting like 8 agents to come. We had like 30 agents, and maybe 3 or 4 of them make over $400,000 a year. Like for the amount of time, I mean, they're giving me their time a day. So
of course,
social media though, like that, it all started there. So just teaching other agents how to use social media, and then being a role model on social media.
How often do you post?
Usually once a day on actual posts, but then when it comes to stories, I try to do like 3 to 5, but it just depends, really. Most of it's like personal stuff, going to the gym, being in the office, on Zoom. I mean, I throw in some real estate stuff there too. So
you never know, when someone's gonna send you a message.
Yeah.
Wants to move here.
I'm a big foodie too, so like I just went to the Bay Street or street off of Bay. It's just opened in Fort Myers.
Okay, what's your favorite spot?
Man, the new one that just opened is pretty cool, but I think Backyard Social is a great environment. That just opened. That's the food truck park off of, I think it's...
downtown Fort Myers, right?
Yeah, it's downtown. Well, downtown Fort Myers is Bayard, I think.
Oh, Bayard.
It's like the Bayard and Bay Street. I don't know why. They like took a whole spin off of them, but probably that. It's Backyard Social is probably mine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Amazing. I know we said we're going to talk about a little bit about open houses and how to maybe get some clients from that.
Yeah, that was when I first started. Just being at open houses and building relationships was a big one for me. They say to put out at least 50 signs, but Florida is a way different story from up north. You know, most of the people that I listen to are up north where they don't have this weather. Yeah. By the time you set out 10 open house signs, you're sweating. So the last thing you want to do is sit in a home, you know. So I would say at least 10 open house signs. And really, we want to articulate our value by having everything there, because most of the buyers that come through don't have an agent, not pre-approved, nothing like that. So you want to have your go-to recommendations on communities, you want to have your go-to recommendations on lenders, all that stuff. So when I have an open house, sign-in sheet, of course, try to get their information, but I'm not big on them signing in, just building a relationship, handshake, take a look around.
See if you like the property.
Right.
Were you doing your own houses, or you were doing open house for some other agent?
Yeah, great question. So when I first started, I didn't know anybody. I was doing open houses for people in my brokerage, and then also to get used to being on the phones, I was contacting other agents from other brokerages that allow open houses. So I'll give you just the rundown. I was like, hey, John, I just want to congratulate you on your listing. I'm curious if your seller was open to doing open houses. I'd be more than happy to help you. Usually 11 to 2 on Saturday or Sunday. And they're like, okay, let me ask. Bam, got it.
It wasn't a problem with them, right? Yep. They were more than happy for someone to come and advertise their property.
Yep. And at the time when I first started, inventory was really low. So there was, a lot of open houses going around because buyers were just knocking out as many properties as they can. And that's where you would make your money.
There's no excuse for any new agent to be like, I don't have any properties to show.
There's not, man.
Just call your colleague from, even if it doesn't have to be your colleague, even some other brokerage, and he's gonna let you.
I've done a few down in Naples. I just like to. It's hard enough to control an area that you're in, let alone like multiple counties. So mostly Fort Myers though. A lot of Cape Coral and Fort Myers. I don't really go to Lehigh that much, but I got one pending right now over there. So.
Are you focusing on do you have people buying investment properties, or is it primary residences mostly?
Everybody wants to own a duplex, man. I don't know what it is. They want a house hack. That's what they say. I think the cheapest one is like $500,000 in our market, and it needs some TLC for sure. I just bought my own investment property. Me and my sister partnered on it. And we did the floors, we redid the paint. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath with a pool, and with the market being, more inventories on. So right now we're noticing more days on market, more price reductions, more back on market homes, but also we're noticing a lot of sellers concessions. I got $19,000 back towards my closing costs and prepaid.
There was a deal you did with Mike, right?
Yeah.
Tell us about that. So what was the story here?
So like I said, everybody wants to own a duplex and rent out one side and do house hack, where it pays for the mortgage. And me and my sister were thinking, she lives at Vista Lakes. It was an apartment, which she didn't really like the community that much, and rent was going up. Rent's going up right now, as far as, Vista Lakes is. But so we're like, it would just make sense if we did house hacking, but with a single family home. So we did go the FHA route where you could get 6% seller's concessions. And luckily the seller was older and it was vacant. She didn't live there. So she's like, get rid of it at a certain price, of course. So we actually offered $320, but then we got 19
What was the purchase price?
$320, but her asking price originally was, I think, $315 maybe. So sometimes it makes sense to offer more than asking price if you're confident that it's going to appraise, with getting that seller concession back in the long run. So it made sense for us, and I think Mike was trying to throw it into where the underwriters, because our debt to income, so they were trying to use the seller credit to pay off our cars, which we did pay off our cars, but I don't think we used the seller. However, the money works. But
I mean, we're gonna, we work with Mike together, so we're gonna find a creative way to go about it.
And you're a licensed agent.
Made, we're gonna make the deal.
I know. When he said that you guys work together, I'm like, let's go. Like, it's nice to have some people down in Naples too. Like, Mike's a great guy, and he's very knowledgeable too. So I've been using him for about a year and a half, 2 years now. Yeah. So
great. We have a lot of newer agents that are tuning in, listening to the reels, to the podcast. So what kind of advice can you give to someone that's newer in the business? What should they focus
on? Your Bible for real estate is going to be MREA. It's by Gary Keller, million dollar real estate agent. MREA is what they say for short. But that's going to be basically your blueprint of how to really convert leads and get listings and have leverage towards other agents. But just reading in general. Chris Voss, he's the author of Never Split the Difference. So that's big on commission. And he was like an FBI interrogator. So he has another book. I need to get my hands on it. It's called The Full Fee Agent. So for new agents, this is what's going to happen. You're not going to know as much as you think you know, right? You're going to learn it out in the field. And when you have listing appointments or if you have buyer consultations, then when you walk in that door, you're either the favorite or the fool. And what I mean by that is they either made up their decision before you came or when you walked in that door, right? So there's 3 things that you need to perfect as an agent in general. And one is going to be trust. The first one's trust. The second one is going to be your value, what you offer to the clients. And then your third one is obviously going to be expectations. You need to set expectations because not only, right now a lot of sellers are still thinking it's 2021, 2022. It's not the case right now. We don't get paid to list homes, we get paid to sell them, right? So for new agents, learn as much as possible and definitely join a team. I think, that was something that I made a mistake of in the beginning. I was individual for 8 months.
Let's add on that for just real quick. So you said value. It's pretty big. I know we have the whole lawsuit happening right now, so we can talk probably an hour for that on its own. But what kind of value would say you bring out to the table? Let's have a consultation with a seller appointment.
I still do printed out packets for my sellers. A lot of people are going digital now, but people like to leave. I like to leave my clients with something that they can hold on to and maybe skim over when they're bored. But really just giving them the breakdown. It's got to be trust first, though. You can't skip. So building trust and relationships is it's not going to be like, oh, you have a puppy, I have a puppy, let's be friends and list your house, right? No, it's not. So articulate your value. And you're definitely going to get that through Teams, YouTube videos, social media, just learning scripts and role play, learning objection handlers. Because if you think about it, write down as many objection handlers as you can. Yeah. Your commission's too high, I want to think about it, my brother, cousin, sister, mother's an agent. Write all that down and then create an objection that can handle most of them. So,
the idea is to have like a playbook, instead of just having one specific answer to
I wish I had one for you. I wish I had one, but you're gonna time will tell. You're gonna learn on your own or with a team, and whatever you put in, you're gonna get it back.
So. Perfect, amazing. Well, Lake, thanks so much for being with us today.